Good afternoon, everyone, and warmly welcome you to my YouTube channel. I go by the name of Malmona Masogana with the student number 280666847. I am doing this video because of it is one of the formal assessment that I have to do. So the assessment is assessment 6 under the module being a professional teacher. We have been asked to do a presentation in one of the subject that you prefer, and then in that subject you have to choose a certain topic that you like to present. So for my own side, I choose life sciences, the Degree of Life Sciences, whereby I'm going to talk about this certain topic, which is so-called the reproductive system. So I will only be talking about the female reproductive system, and in the female reproductive system, I won't be going through everything, but I will be only going to talk about the menstrual cycle. We'll be having multiple questions. What is menstrual cycle? Menstrual cycle, basically, let me start by the word menstrual. Menstrual is the normal vaginal bleeding which occur in a female's body. Remember, a female's body go through a bleeding every and each month. So that thing, it is normal. But remember, in order for it to be called a cycle, it must occur spontaneously, so be occurring every now and then. So I chose this subject, I chose this topic because of there are a lot of learners who get confused on what is going on, how does everything goes hand in hand. So I am here to clarify them, to give them clarity in order for them to have a clear understanding of what's going on through the menstrual cycle. So under menstrual cycle is controlled. Remember, in life sciences, most of the things are controlled by something. So the menstrual cycle is controlled by the brain. Under the brain, we are having this part of the brain which is responsible for menstrual cycle, but not only for menstrual cycle, but for some certain purposes. But remember, now we are going to talk about menstrual cycle. We are having this part of the brain which is called the pituitary gland, or the hypophysis, or the hypophysis in the way that you would prefer to call. The hypophysis, it is the part of the brain which is responsible for the secretion of hormones. But remember, because we are talking about the menstrual cycle, meaning we'll be talking about the hormones that are secreted for only the purpose of menstrual cycle. So under this, we are having the first hormone, which is so-called the FSH. FSH in full, it just stands for the follicle stimulating hormone. This hormone is responsible for the production of follicles. Meaning, if you can basically understand the meaning of FSH, it says it is the follicle stimulating hormone. Meaning, it stimulates the development of the new follicles that are to be formed. And the other hormone, it is so-called the luteinizing hormone. Luteinizing hormone is the hormone which is responsible for the process of ovulation. The process of ovulation, it is the process whereby the egg is released, or the ovum is released from the ovary. And also, we'll be asking ourselves multiple questions on how and where does menstrual cycle occur? How does it occur? So we are having this part of the female which is so-called an ovary. An ovary is the part that mitosis occur. Remember, in the process of oogenesis, we be saying there is this part of the female's body where mitosis occur. So the part that mitosis occur, it is so-called an ovary. Remember, at the beginning of the chapter, basically we have learned that in the female reproductive system, we have learned that during the oogenesis follicles, basically, in the oogenesis process, there are numerous follicles which are formed. If you can see in my diagrams, I basically remember I used my hand to draw, so everything in the board is up to scale. So there are numerous follicles which are formed. The numerous follicles which are formed are this one. Meaning here, the FSH starts to take a step in stimulating the development of what? Of new follicles. Then these are the new follicles which are formed. Remember, those follicles that are not only new, but they are numerous. These are the follicles which are numerous. But as the process of oogenesis continues, as the mitosis gradually happen, then the cell division happens spontaneously. Only one of those numerous eggs, or the follicles that we were having, only one of those follicles will survive in nature. After we had numerous follicles, mitosis occurred, and after occurrence of mitosis, there is this follicle which is produced, or this follicle which has survived from all the numerous follicles that we were having. As this one survives, meaning it will have to go under every step which is necessary for it to be able to go out of the ovary and go through the other steps which follows and of ovum or not inside the ovary. So as this thing goes by and goes by, it forms something which is so called the Graafian follicles. Remember at the beginning, as they were numerous, they were the primary or oocyte or the primary follicles. And then as they mature and be going forward and developing as it goes, it starts to form something which is called the Graafian follicle. The Graafian follicle then stimulates or secretes, basically when you say stimulate, it secretes a hormone which is called an estrogen. Estrogen is the hormone that prepares the body of the female for pregnancy. Remember, the main purpose of menstrual cycle, it is to prepare the possibility of a female to get pregnant. Meaning it is there because of a woman must get pregnant, but to prepare the body for the possibility. Meaning if it is possible for the female to go pregnant, that means the menstrual cycle has to occur. So because of it must make sure that it prepares the body for the possibility of pregnancy, meaning it has to produce some things. So it has to develop and goes under some several stages. As it goes inside the ovary under the several production cycles, it reaches something which is so called the Graafian follicle. Then the Graafian follicle stimulates this hormone. This hormone will go on the human's part, which is so called the uterus, which it is well known as the womb in English. It goes there. There is this layer or this lining which is so called the endometrium. It thickens up that layer in order for the layer to be prepared if pregnancy happens or if pregnancy occurs. Then as it goes further, the egg or the ovum, so-called an ovum, is released from this pocket. We can call it a pocket for now. It is released from this pocket. As it is released, there is the process which happens in between here. The process is so-called the ovulation. Ovulation is the process which is responsible for the release of what? Of the ovum. Then the ovum is then released outside what? Outside the ovary. Meaning after the release, there is this thing which remains back, which basically stays there for until whatsoever the people start to reserve. Afterwards, that pocket of ours starts to shrink. As it's shrinking, it starts to become something which is so-called the corpus luteum. Then corpus luteum, as time goes by, produces or secretes this hormone which is so-called the progesterone. Progesterone is then in its own function basically. It is to maintain what? The body for pregnancy. If pregnancy happens, this hormone will be responsible for that function. Meaning, in your graph, in order for you to understand or see if the woman is pregnant, you'll be seen by this hormone. That's why we'll be having some things whereby we do not have a clarity on how to see on the graph whether the female is pregnant or the female is not pregnant. But only this hormone can show you a way. And then this is the last part of menstrual cycle. This part of menstrual cycle, remember we talked about how menstrual cycle is controlled. We talked about everything which is related to menstrual cycle, the ovaries. So this is the graph. Remember in examination, they can either bring the ovary or they can either bring a graph. So this is the graph. So in this graph, we are having portions. This portion is so-called the endometrium lining. This layer. This portion is whereby you'll be seeing your endometrium layer. And in this portion here, there are the grafts that are basically being produced by the follicles. And then for this side, this is inside the ovary. Then this sector here, there are the hormones which are produced by the brain. So let me elaborate how everything works. Remember, we have agreed that we are having this hormone which comes from the brain as FSH. What is the function of FSH? FSH stimulates the production of what? Of follicles. Remember, follicles develop before what? Before they've been released. If you can check here, there is the releasement of what? Of an ovum. Meaning, FSH on your graph will always start to make something sort of a ramp or a hump on this side, which is what? Which is this side or this side. this side of the graph, meaning this side, it will start to make a sort of a ramp thing to show you that here it is working. Then afterwards it goes back to normal. Remember, it starts like this to be constant, like, you know, I can be saying constant. Then it increases and decreases at some distant points, meaning your graph, it stimulates before the process of ovulation. Then we are having this one, which is so-called the LH. Remember, LH only works on day 14. Remember, it is well known that a menstrual cycle or the dates, so-called the dates, only occur on the 14th day. So remember, meaning the LH, because it only works during the process of ovulation, meaning it will move constantly so until the releasement of an egg. That's when it will sharply increase and at some standpoint decrease and goes back to normal. Then afterwards, there are hormones which are what? There are hormones which are controlled, or the hormones that are secreted by what? By the follicles. For example, we have the first one as estrogen. The main purpose of estrogen is to do what? Is to prepare the body for pregnancy. Remember, pregnancy the possibility of pregnancy occurs afterwards, after the ovulation, meaning it has to do its own function before ovulation. Remember, ovulation is over this line. Then before ovulation, meaning estrogen, it is somewhat similar to FSH, because as it prepares before what? Before the ovulation, meaning it has to somewhat increase in a REM form and then goes back to normal. It must await until the process repeats itself. Then we are having this one as progesterone. Remember, the main function of progesterone is to maintain the body for pregnancy. Meaning, before the release of the ovum, the progesterone level will be normal, will be constant. Then after the release of an ovum, it will increase, not sharply increase, but will increase in a ramp form. After increasing, its increasement will depend on whether the person is pregnant, but because of now we're not talking about gestation, we're only talking about the side of a menstrual cycle. It will somehow decrease. As it decreases, it goes back from the beginning, starting from here, and it will be ending here. And then that's what we'll be saying, it is the continuous thing that happens in a female's body. Meaning it has to go over and over. Meaning after this progesterone level drops, it has to start from the beginning, meaning somehow we can say the higher level of progesterone inhibits the production of follicles. Meaning, if the level of progesterone suddenly increases, meaning there will be no follicles that must be produced. Meaning, if the progesterone goes downwards, the follicles will start to be stimulated, and basically there will be the new development of follicles. Meaning, this and this go hand in hand, but inversely so. If this one goes ahead, the other one has to step down. So meaning, the level of progesterone, as it drops, everything has to start again from the beginning, which comes here, whereby we start to having new follicles. So, honorable members, my dearest lecturers and everyone, I thank you for this time, and then thank you so much for watching this video. I thank you.